Greetings, ones and zeros, zeros and ones, boys and girls that are now men and women, kings and queens, gods and goddesses, spiritual beings of this matrix. Welcome, my name is Clay. Today I want to talk about this topic. I think I'm going to label it Last to Remember. And it's been a while since I did a video. It's been at least a month or at least 30 days since I did a video. And I wanted to do a video today specifically relating to what has unveiled for me and talking about this eclipse cycle that has taken place. Also talking about the what is called the Chinese New Year's. I believe today is the Chinese New Year's, the day that I'm doing this video, which is the 19th of February, or as we have it on the 5D calendar, it is a day in Pisces, a day in Newt. To get to what I've been feeling these past few days, it has to do with the relation of last to remember. And as I'm talking about last to remember, I'm looking at myself, and this is the first time I'm doing a recording with my hair down, you know, and it signifies the release of certain egoic tendencies, like having my hair up is like wearing a crown. Having it down doesn't mean I'm not wearing the crown. It means that I am in a more relaxed state. And I'm not even sure if that's the word I want to use, relaxed state, or I'm in a more tranquil, a more accepting state. As I'm in this more accepting state, I want to talk about what it is that I have lost and what it is that I'm remembering. So, looking at my life and how my life has progressed into this point, and seeing that I'm coming from or coming through a schizophrenic mindset, a schizophrenic mental break. In having that schizophrenic mental break, what did I have the schizophrenic mental break from? The schizophrenic mental break is coming from an egoic state. And it's not to say that I don't experience the ego in the misappropriated sense. It is to say that I have broken through extreme egoic state, and in that extreme egoic state it is labeled as schizophrenia. Now, one of the things coming up in this eclipse season is what is it that I have lost, and what is it that I am remembering. So I have chosen to come through in this life in what some would call an NPC state or a zombie state. NPC meaning non-participating consciousness, and what that means is that I had chosen to live in a mask mindset, meaning simply living worldly, living in the 3D mindset, living in a mindset that is programmed by the ego, programmed by the misappropriated ego, right? Not living in my divine ego. So as I came into this world in that misappropriated ego state, it was only in 2020 that I broke through in what is considered a schizophrenic state. And in that schizophrenic state, it was the height of the mental break that was happening. So anyways, one of the things that was lost is in a sense, sovereignty. To come here and have that NPC, that zombie, that narcissistic experience, um, is to have lost, in a sense, sovereignty. And now I'm in the process of remembering, recouping what that sovereignty is. And in that process, I'm looking at the eclipse season and what it is I understand when I'm saying the eclipse season, or what it is that I am understanding when I am saying the eclipse. What is it that had been eclipsed in my life? And what it is that had been eclipsed in my life is sovereignty, right? So every eclipse season, a person has the opportunity to look at what has been eclipsed in your life. What is it that you were forgetting in your life? What is it that you were hiding in your life? What is it that you weren't responding to? What is it that you were reacting to in a programmatic manner, in a NPC manner, in a zombie state, in a narcissistic state? That is one of the things that I'm looking at. Now, as we talk about the eclipse, I want to mention a particular way of life now. Because coming through the schizophrenic state, I am seeing that the life that I was living is an unnatural life, based in unnatural thinking, unnatural programming. And I'll give you the example based on our calendar system. The current calendar system is coming through the Gregorian calendar system. So Pope Gregory is the one who the calendar was named in reference to. And this calendar system represents a man-made governmental structure. And I'll give you an example relating to that. Right now, astrologically speaking, cosmically speaking, as the earth is witnessing the sun, we are in the house of Pisces, right? The calendar makes no reference that we are in the house of Pisces. We are in the month on the 5D calendar that me and my partner share. We label the month according to Kemet, and in our interpretation, we are in the month or the house of Newt, which is considered Pisces. The current Gregorian calendar makes no reference to this, right? Which means that there is a mental, there is a governance, I should say, that is ruling the operation of the calendar cycle. So once you're under that calendar cycle, you're being ruled by that calendar cycle, which that calendar cycle is a man-made program. It is unnatural. It is not a natural representative of what governance is, of what authority is. So we are in the month of February. February makes no, according to the Gregorian calendar, we're in the month of February, and February makes no reference to Pisces. It makes no reference to Newt. It makes no reference to the stars, right? If you want to have a reference to the stars, you have to go into astrology. And then once you go into astrology, the month of February, you'll see that it is not aligned with any with the houses. It's not aligned with the constellation. In truth, February is shares two houses. February shares Aquarius and it shares Pisces, right? So what that shows is that there has been a shift away from natural levity to unnatural levity. And as I come through and I'm experiencing the schizophrenic mindset, one of the ways in which I curate, in which I come up with or align myself with the proper culture of governance, of authority in the earth, is to respond to the astrological order, respond to the cosmic order, right? And I am very fortunate to have a partner who is very much inclined to this astrological order, who can respond and help me to respond to it as I'm learning to heal myself. Okay, so why it is or how is it that I'm using this natural order? Well, every 18 months, what is considered the nodes, they shift, right? Right now, we're about to shift, or we're in the nodal cycle of Pisces and Virgo, if I'm correct. Yes, Pisces and Virgo. And in that nodal cycle, um, we have just had an eclipse, and the eclipse is according to the observations in the heavens. And as we observe what is in the heavens or what is in the houses, it affects our consciousness because it informs what it is that is happening. What are the light codes that are being issued to the earth? What are the light codes that are issued to the earth via the universe, via the sun, via our perspective, via the divine ego, right? Per the divine intuition. So in this time, I'm seeing that this eclipse season for me represents this very topic. Lost to remember. What is it that I've lost? I have lost my sovereignty. I have lost my feeling nature, because I did a meditation, and in that meditation, on the back of this eclipse, coming out of that meditation, I heard my subconscious, the message out of the medication, because the meditation is the medication. The message out of it is I am experiencing self-hate, though I know I love myself. And when I look at it, that is exactly what I've been experiencing before the schizophrenic break in 2020. What I was practicing was self-hate, being programmed in the unnatural way of living, being programmed away from being able to recognize the light information, energy coming through our galactic center, for example. And this is serious business coming from Sirius, right? Recognizing that I am not just flesh and bones. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And in being a spiritual being having a human experience, one of the ways to look at life is that we are light beings. So there's light energy, or light information coming through the universe, coming through the source, from source to us. And as it is coming from source to us, as it is coming from source to me, that is the natural way of understanding that there's a conversion into matter, and this matter is now the flesh, right? So with that understanding, I'm able to feel the changes that are happening in the earth. And one of those changes is highlighted by the season. Right now they're saying it is the Chinese New Year. And with this Chinese New Year comes a whole cultural shift, right? Those who are responsible for analyzing global shift will tell you that this Chinese New Year's, it also presents a cultural shift in the consciousness of people. This Chinese New Year, just like how the Gregorian New Year or the Western New Year presents a whole global shift consciously for people. This February 19, the Chinese culture affects a huge proportion of the consciousness of man, right? And as it affects the culture of man, there's going to be a shift. Now, the thing is that shift is going to be, for the most part, an unnatural shift. And one of the indications of this unnatural shift, I am saying, is that we are in a transitional period. We are in a period of time where we are being shown by the culture of the earth, the culture of the light energy information, the governance of the stars, the governance of the cosmos. It is showing us that it's time for us to go inward, right? And as we go inward, it is not a go time, right? Regardless of the what some would say we're in we're entering into Aries. Aries? Saturn is entering into Aries. And as Saturn is entering into Aries, that is signifying a fire, a time to go, right? I am saying that despite that kind of reading holistically, right, it is time to go within yourself and address your authority, address the authority within your being, address your identity. What kind of identity work have you done in this respiriting season? And I'm calling this a respiriting season from it being the winter season, because okay, pause for a minute. Yes, so I'm saying that this being the winter season is the respirating season, it's the hibernating season, it's really also a detoxing season, right? Where the world at large is telling you, the culture at large, which is the 3D culture, is telling you to go. The 3D culture is telling you, is distracting you with energy, fear energy. I'm going to call it fear energy, to keep you out of your sovereignty, right? So when springtime comes, for you to spring into action, for you to be bringing out new fruits, the fruits that you will bring out is fruits of unconscious behavior. It's fruits of unconscious levity. Okay, one of the things I want to go forward to is the importance of understanding the cycles. And I'm not an expert in this. However, I'm going to speak about it, how I use it, to renew my mind, to keep my mind in a renewed state, to keep my mind in a receptive state, right? Because ever since I've been in this awakening process, the only way that I see to keep my mind renewed, keep my mind in an acceptance mode, in an acceptance modality, so that I can be creative. The only way I can keep my mind in an acceptance, a receptive mode to be creative in the right things is by being in tune with the cosmos, is to being in tune with astrology, being in tune with the stars, being in tune with the light energy information, being in tune with the messages that are out there, as we say in Kemet, as above so below. So being in tune with what it is that I am looking at, being in tune with what it is that I am receiving, being in tune with actuality, with reality, right? So one of the things that is very important is for a person to acknowledge their birth chart. We call it the birth chart, or the astrological birth chart. And this birth chart gives you a sun sign, moon sign, a rising. It gives you a north node and a south node. Now this north node and south node is very important, because the earth have a north node and south node, and as the earth have a north node and south node, this north node and south node changes rotation every 18 months. So there's an 18-month cycle that takes place on the earth, right? It's not simply a 12-month cycle. There's an 18-month cycle, there's a 12-month cycle. Just like how you have seasons, in the seasons there's a 4-month cycle, or a 3-month cycle for each season. So there are many cycles. And one of the cycles that I'm talking about that is important in understanding the cyclical nature of things that govern things. The cyclical authoritative governance within a human being. This is how you grow, right? This is how you observe and grow, because you're here to observe and make decisions based on what it is that you're witnessing about yourself. As you observe and witness what it is that is happening within yourself, you make those decisions per your perspective. And that perspective is only sensed by appreciating the totality of what the governance structure is in life. And I am saying that the governance structure in life, one of the critical elements is the north node, south node, which is present or which changes orientation every 18 months. Right, so currently we are in the north node, south node of Pisces and Virgo, and after that it's going to switch to Aquarius and Leo, and then after that it's going to switch to Capricorn and Cancer, and so on and so forth, right? So, and these celestial perspective informs us as to what it is we are supposed to be doing per our birth chart, per our soul contract. And of course, you can choose to not do that. Many people are unaware of this, and you can choose to not be aware of it. And in that unawareness, you will have the experience that that unawareness brings about. If you are interested in being aware and living in that awareness, if you are interested in sovereignty, if you are interested in governing your mental according to divinity, according to sovereignty, according to the sacred light, so to speak, then these are ways that you have to tap into the light source. You have to tap into Mother Earth. You have to tap into Father Universe or Mother Universe. You have to tap into the light source energy. And so that is one of the things that I am seeing that is very vital, the nodal cycle of 18 months. And as you tap into the nodal cycle of 18 months, you will pay attention to the which house or which constellation you are in, whether you're in Pisces, whether you're in Virgo. And as aware, as you become more and more aware, you become more and more in tune with we're in the Aquarius age. What does this mean? This is the age of information. This is the age of the knowing, where societies will fall per the dictates of the age. People are living unconscious lives, and that is for them to live according to what they are choosing. If you are seeing something that is causing you to awaken your senses, then the way to go about further awakening and keeping awakened your senses is to listen or watch the stars, right? Now, as you watch the stars, you will see that we have 12 months. According to the Gregorian calendar, there's 12 months, and those 12 months were shifted away from the 12 houses or the 12 constellations. One of the indications, as you are the 13th constellation, one of the indication is, if you look at the story of Christ had 12 disciples. I'm saying that it is not for 12 disciples to follow Christ. It is to embody the 12 disciples or disciplines that you must have within yourself. And one of the things I've heard recently on the internet is the 12 cranial nerves matching the brain being tied into the pineal gland, which is the 13th. So that is having a relationship of tying in culturally, tying in what is in the body to what we observe culturally in the cosmos. And as you tie those things in, it is also to see the shift, the purposeful shift away from the cosmos. Because as I was saying earlier, if you follow the Gregorian calendar, you will see that we're in the month of February. This is totally ignorant or totally oblivious of the house, the constellation. And then once you start to bridge that gap, you see that February has two constellations in it. Every month has two constellations in them, breaking it further apart. So you see that there's a shift. So a person has to then come into alignment with springtime. And as you come into alignment with springtime, you'll see that you organize your life according to springtime. And for me, as I'm organizing my life, my mental, my solar plexus, my identity body, my mental body, as I organize my mental body with that, I'm being charged with further organizing my emotional body, which my emotional body now is in the sacral chakra region, right? And as I said earlier, coming into this eclipse season, what I heard is that I've been living a life that is unsatisfactory per my feeling. I've been hating myself. That is what is in my feeling. And I'll say this, about 75% of my feeling, right, is in hate. When I detect hate feeling for myself, it's I have about 75% self-hate in my feeling nature. It is knowing that I love myself that is my saving grace, right? And in knowing that I love myself, I practice things that now heal my feeling nature, that will also help to heal my identity body, also help to heal my mental nature, which feeds the soul proper nutrients. So I'm constantly slewing demons, constantly visiting my trauma, right? Constantly visiting, unseating the demons. It's a daily work, right? And because of this daily work, I've been labeled, titled, disabled by the government, because when you have been diagnosed with schizophrenia and you exhibit certain symptoms, rightfully so, you're disabled from the system. You can no longer operate in the system effectively according to how they want you to operate, right? So now, as I am healing myself, I am seeing that it is per the soul contract. It is per the spiritual nature that is in the soul that I am operating, and I need to operate this way. I have to operate this way. To not operate this way is to operate in an insane way. It's to operate in a NPC, a non-conscious way. And I'm saying this without bias, right? I'm saying this without bias in my knowing, because when a person is unconscious, that is a form of insanity. And there are spectrums of insanity, right? There are spectrums of insanity that a person lives in. Because as far as I'm aware, even the most healed person experiences some degree of insanity, right? The thing is to not live in that insanity, as I am choosing to not live in the insanity of being unconscious. So going to the calendar, or the paying attention to the ecliptic cycles again, I'm saying the only way that I see for a person to, not the only way, one of the ways, because this is the way that I'm doing it, to maintain your sanity, is to be in tune with light energy information, be in tune with the cosmos, be in tune with the astrological features, be in tune with nature, right? Have a natural governance. as you have a natural governance, that is the only way to keep your seeing, to keep your sanity. As you are endowed or imbued or you're inundated with the energies of the 3D world. As you're inundated with the energies of the 3D world, you will need something to keep you sane. And the only way that I'm seeing to keep you sane is to follow the cosmos. So, as we are experiencing right now this eclipse season, as we are experiencing right now this Chinese New Year, as we are experiencing right now this winter season here in the West, in the Northern Hemisphere, I should say, as we are experiencing right now these seasonal changes, this is what I am seeing more and more becoming more evident to me, that I am to be in tune with the seasons, with the natural seasons, if I am to govern my own mental. Anyone who seeks to govern their own mental, as above, so below, as within, so without, must come in tune with that in order to know thyself. And that is where I'm going to close this unveiling, as these are the developments that have taken place over the past month, and I may come back and do another video based on something else sooner than later. One other thing, one of the things that came to my mind, the Rasta. What is Rasta? Some people, there's many definitions of Rasta. One of the things that came to my mind is that Rasta is a response to the colonial mindset. Rasta is a response to the colonial mindset. And as you see, there are many, anyone who chooses to look into what Rasta is, you're going to see many different definitions. Some people say that Selassie, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, and Empress Menen are seen as gods. And some people see them as the misappropriated God, because they see them as a God walking on earth without seeing themselves as being gods. And when you do that, you objectify the man, you objectify the thing, no different than the European did with Christ, right? And as His Imperial Majesty said, also he's a follower of Christ. He himself said that he's a Christian. So some Rasta will say that, will say it that way. Some Rasta will say, like how I started is to see His Imperial Majesty as a God, as I am a God also, right? And then ultimately I graduated into seeing that I'm a spiritual being, not just a God, because there's some ego that I am aware of within my heart, that when I said I was a God, I'm doing it egoically as opposed to intuitively, right? And there are many different variations, but that is something that came up, and that is something that came up this eclipse season for me in defining what I say, what it is that I am saying when I am saying that I'm a Rasta. So I'm a response. So I'm coming out of the reactive mode and being in response. So in being response, I govern my own mental. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. One of the greatest minds to have ever done it, Marcus Garvey, and then Bob Marley championed it in music. Is a constant response to have emancipate yourself from mental slavery, which means that the only governance that there is the only governance that there is. Nature, natural liberty is the only governance. You cannot have a natural mental and be governed by unnatural things. So that's where I'm going to leave that. These are some of the things that came up this eclipse cycle. And with that, I'm saying amen, ashe, and namaste.